right, welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. How is everybody doing tonight? We're gonna do something a little bit different, and we're gonna merge the roll up and chill with a video that I want to watch. So I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna wait for you guys to pop in, get some people in here. I'll get my grinding going, and then we'll get into the video. Shout out to the Speaker of Purity. You think that Iran war is just a cover up for Epstein? Let's just say it's I don't know, but that is not an insane thing to think. That is not an insane thing to think. I haven't even actually, I populated my watch later playlist with a bunch of stuff about Iran, but I haven't really, gone too deep into it. But it kind of seems like a very similar thing to Venezuela, where it was like, oh, they're doing that? Nope, it's done. Everybody there is happy. So I'm like, okay, we'll see. We will see. As always, guys, on a roll up and chill. So we'll start with some vibe music. Always got to start with telling you about the grinder. If you're going to get a big grinder, make sure you check the size of the teeth, and which I did not do, but I will show you how to grind anyway. Would you rather drink acid or lava? You're immune to both. Well, if I'm immune to both, then it's the same thing as blood, right? Or do you just mean that both wouldn't, like I wouldn't die from both, but I would still experience everything else? Because I would think even there, really, it doesn't matter, because it's the amount of pain, the acid burn versus the heat burn. I feel like I'll go with the in taste. I don't know what acid tastes like, and I don't know what lava tastes like. So how would I answer that? I have no idea. Whichever one tastes better. Take a cheat code with that. So what are we rolling up today? A little bit of this. A little bit of let's do that. You're immune totally to both. Then, without knowing what lava tastes like, without knowing what acid tastes like, then I don't know how I'm supposed to answer the question. Oh, don't hate me. Don't hate me. I've never seen Star Wars, but Superman does good. We like doing good. Shout out to Roman. Welcome. Use black seed oil to detoxify your body. I don't. Is that something I should be doing? Not heard of it. Yes, we are rolling up, but we do have a video. I'm gonna just get myself all packed up, and we'll get to the video. Give you guys a moment to hop in, ask any other weird questions about whether I'd like to eat acid or lava. Would you rather be in or experience dead space or alien isolation? Alien isolation meaning like you're just out in the universe? I don't know what alien isolation means. And then again, I guess dead space sounds like, yeah, what's the difference? What's dead space and what's alien isolation? At least then I could pick. If we have two different things, then I could pick. Oh, I don't know anything about games. I don't know anything about shit like that. What have I done to the British flag? I have done nothing. I am innocent, Your Honor. I am innocent of all charges. I'm just here rolling up. We're gonna get into this lead show in a minute. Oh, yep. Oh, I see it now. I'm far away. I'm rolling up, so I'm a little bit further away from my laptop. But seconded. Welcome to the party. Oh, okay, so it has an X through. Oh, but does that mean like there's other stuff because I know that the circle means stuff sometimes, and then so is the X or yeah, that's another part of it, or is the X saying no, we don't want this? Oh man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. The message is not uh, the message is not clear. I appreciate what you're trying to do. And that's a Hector. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Yeah, right. This is what I needed. So appreciate you guys with the questions. Hot gas, right? So yeah, we are. Oh yeah, you saw this. We're gonna check out this video. I'll give you guys a moment to pop in, populate. You know, always got to make my PSA about. You're gonna get a bigger grinder. Make sure you check the teeth. And if you don't, I'm gonna show you how to get a nice fine grind, even with these giant teeth and these giant holes. What are you guys up to on this Saturday? Saturday? Sunday? I don't even know what day it is. What are you up to on this Saturday? There's Spook Toy. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Very good to see ya. And we got Glow and Dark. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Grinder-related wisdom is what you come here for. However, I'm giving you a twofer. Because we got a video. So you may or may not have seen, I'm just gonna pull this up again. You may or may not have seen this video that's featured in my thumbnail. Never before seen debate between Andrew Wilson and Tim Pool. He debate with Tim Pool on the nature of God. And for those you don't know, I'm a non-believer, I'm agnostic. But I very much have respect for Christian ethics and Christian ideology and stuff like that. I just happen not to believe in the truth claims. And I used to love Tim Pool. And, you know, he's still up there, but at a certain point, he started talking about how, well, I'm not a Christian, but God this and God that and God that. And talking about it in a way that, at least to me, felt very much like he knew that he didn't really believe in any religious aspect of what he was saying, but he could use the fact that God is undefinable as a way to kind of cozy up to the Christians. And, you know, again, nothing wrong with being Christian, but there, you know, as someone who's a non-believer, I don't necessarily, as much as I want, you know, Christian culture to be what we're living in, I don't want a Christian theocracy where, you know, I'm not allowed to believe what I want and so on and so forth. Not that I think that's a huge issue, but that is why, you know, when I saw this stuff from Tim, I lost a lot of respect. And so this, what we're about to watch, is from the members only show. I've not been a member in about a year or so. And this, you know, this is when you could call in from Discord. And they have people, and someone calls in, and they have this debate, and I hated both sides of it. So I don't, with this one, I don't really feel the need to. The way that I grind, it seems to just, you know, on the inside, it's fine. What I will do every once in a while is take some chapstick and just boop, boop, boop. Just kind of lubricate it a little bit so that it doesn't get stuck, like nothing gets stuck in there, and so there's not a lot of bullshit stuck to it. Who else we got? We got Bacon Blitz. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Shout out to TS and Dilly, and fuck Stuttering John. Dilly. Right now, when I'm up here, I can't tell as easy. I think you guys are all, all of you guys are on vertical right now. But I don't have the chat separated. It just tells me it has like a little rectangular thingy. But yeah, so we have this video here, and you know, I just kind of wanted to give my thoughts on it. I'm not staying here all night, guys. I'm not staying here all night. Every single time I'm like, oh, let's do a quick roll up and chill, be here for 45 minutes, an hour or something. 4 hours later, we're still going. If you want a show like that, we got a super chat. I'm covering this, and I'm going to bed. All right. How many years? I did not say years. So, I mean, this grinder was only, because like I usually show with my my standard size grinder for like like this is the standard and this is mine. I probably paid $50-$60 for that. And you're gonna pay like $35-$40 for something like this. So you may as well get the bigger one. And then again, I will show you how to make sure that even though with those big teeth and those big the big teeth and the big holes in the grinder, how to make sure you still get a nice fine grind, because you don't want to rip our papers. We're gonna be packing up in the raw king size cones. But I still got to pack up this grinder. So let's start this off.
Not all powerful.
No, the opposite.
You said God can't create a boulder he cannot lift?
No, because
Every single priest.
do you know what?
Before we even really get into it, I want
the opposite.
I want to address that that aspect, because that is a very common atheist thing. Can God, if God's all powerful, can he create a boulder that he can't lift? It's like, that's not doing what you think it's doing. That's just semantics. God can't do that, because that's not a thing that can be done in the same way that God can't make a square circle. That's not a limitation of God. That's a limitation, or that's a paradox within the language itself. And so as a starting point, again, I don't like both sides of this argument.
Cannot lift?
No, because
every single priest.
Do you know what?
Theologians I talked to said the opposite.
No, none of them. Their dogma literally would prevent them from defying the nature of God. Not a single theologian on planet Earth who's a priest has ever said to you, Tim, God could create a God more powerful than him. That never happened.
No, they said
it's not possible.
That's actually an interesting. That's actually an interesting way to throw that back off. I thought it was Saturday too. Shout out to Death Poet. Welcome to the party. We also got Mr. Buddy Lee. Welcome. And so yeah, God or can God create a rock that so heavy that he can't lift? That doesn't make sense in the same way that God can't make a God that's more powerful than God, because that's just the way that these things work. And so if you are a non-believer, if you want to challenge the ideas that don't make sense, you have to understand them well enough to understand where they actually don't make sense versus where you don't make sense.
So my question is for Andrew, and hopefully I can...
Again, we got the caller. Perceptual John is calling into the members only after show, and this is what ensues.
So my question is for Andrew, and hopefully I can at least partially satiate your desire to argue. So this is kind of going back to when you were here with Tim last time, and you were talking about the existence or not of rights.
Yes.
And so a friend of mine who is also a fan of yours, who showed me some of your videos. So the first one was your conversation with Dave Smith. We've kind of had a prolonged conversation about the existence of rights, him taking more of your perspective, I'm disagreeing. And then we were both kind of interested to see what you would say with this. So
we'll start with what a right is.
Yes. Okay. So like, I'm totally down to agree with you that a right is an entitlement without duty.
Okay.
And then my perspective would be that the existence of the obligations that we can both exist necessarily creates rights. And we both agree that you have an obligation to not me. I have an obligation to not.
Notice that cut. We'll assume that it was dead air, but notice the cut.
You have an obligation to wherever you are speaking to me, speak the truth.
And remember that this is this is obviously the Timcast studio, but this was posted by the Crucible.
Obligation to not you have an obligation to wherever you're speaking to me, speak the truth.
No,
not lie.
I don't. Like you've already made supposed axioms that I don't agree with. You've already created suppositions that I don't agree with. So where's the obligation?
Shout out to Lone Wolf. Welcome to the party. Looks maxing. I don't know what pogging is. Mogging is just like winning. If you're more attractive than someone, then you mog them, as far as I understand it. I don't know. We're getting too old for this shit. But welcome to the party.
You've already created suppositions that I don't agree with. So where does the obligation that I don't you come from?
No, do we not agree that God gives an obligation to both of us? No, I didn't say. I said.
Yeah. Then.
Wait, you have a right to not someone?
No, he's saying he said there's an obligation not to.
Yeah, but
where's this obligation to not do a thing?
No, very obviously, the answer to Andrew's question is God. that God says you should not, that you should not bear false witness or whatever the fucking terminology is. But Andrew is already looking to argue, because you'll see that he's like, oh, okay, we're already in Christianity. Okay, cool then. But it's like, why are you so antagonistic all the time? This is why nobody really understands you, because you're never looking to have a conversation. You're just trying to win arguments.
Oh yeah, I would say Exodus.
Yeah, okay.
Like
So you're saying you're looking at through the prism of Christian ethics.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, both of us, like, we all come from the same
Okay,
perspective.
I see. So
like
you're-
all the Christian fundamentals,
Mhm.
like we might have minor doctrinal differences, but like I'm
it.
totally good to agree with you on all
Got
the Christian fundamental presuppositions. So,
Okay.
so I'm not disagreeing on that point. My point
I thought you were going to be some atheist, and I was just going to have to destroy you.
being that when God goes and gives you an obligation to not murder me, and me an obligation
a
to
duty?
not murder you,
A duty.
Yes, sure.
Mhm.
Duties. You have a duty to not murder me. I have a
Mhm.
duty to not murder you, and so on, and and similar other things, like you to not lie to me to not lie to you. These things, these create rights, just by the instantiation of the obligation, or by the duty.
That's now, well, okay. If you were to put this in a syllogism, that wouldn't actually make any sense, right?
Duties aren't right,
So
right?
just because you say, if you say you have a duty, you were given a duty to not or me, that does not then instantiate that you have a right to not be by me. That's where you're making a fundamental mistake. Where does that right come from?
Yeah, so this is where
I have the
like I was mentioning, my friend and I,
obligation, but you don't have any right.
They only have the right to defend themselves.
Don't even have a right to do that.
Well, shit,
you can defend yourself,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
does it
yeah.
become a right?
Or you
So
get-
the thing is like, where does the duty form into the right process? That's what I'm asking.
yeah, it's that you basically can't.
Whoa. I could definitely see how, like, he's like, oh God, what did I set myself up to be? Because it's got to be tiring to always be on like that. And I don't know, maybe some people are just built different. Because, like, you guys have seen me, I get heated, but that's not like my default position. Maybe I get easily triggered. Maybe I'm quick to give an opinion, or but I know it feels like he's intentionally trying to do this, and it seems like if that is his content, then yeah, I don't know how happy you'd really be. Also, maybe it's like a car mechanic. You ask them, "What do you think about my car? Does it look cool?" And they just start telling you what they think is wrong. Fair enough. But this is like, I'm not saying that Andrew's doing anything wrong. I'm just expressing why my frustration with having dealt with him before, having dealt with the Crucible crew type energy. It's just like you could do better. You could do better if you wanted to reach more people. Just saying.
Have one without the other.
How? Why not?
Yeah, it's that you basically can't have one without the other.
How? Why not?
Yeah, so I would say, well, I guess I would say, well, I have then an entitlement to not be, and we could go and look at particulars like biblical.
But I'll just say this. It sounds to me like you're not a Christian.
Well, okay, so that's where that's where Tim comes in. But it sounds like they're trying to now or put it in a context of why it is already built in. But then Tim comes with you're not a Christian.
Particulars like biblical.
But I'll just
Tim Pool says Andrew Wilson is not a Christian.
it sounds to me like you're not a Christian. The argument you're proposing is that Christianity is subjective and only partial. Therefore, the right cannot exist because God's law, God's word, is not mandate for all.
Right? Are you asking me?
Yeah. That's what I hear from you.
Oh no!
He says
The
God-
opposite. I'm saying that God is.
For our roll up, remember, guys, the grinder is too big. I don't want that these giant little nugs. I want a fine grind. So what you do, you twist. Oh, I messed up. Hold on. You twist and flip. Now it's grinding, but it's not falling anywhere. So it's grinding and it's grinding and it's grinding and it's grinding. There we go. There. Wait. Go. Oh, nice and fine. So we flip it back over. Make sure we get all the goods. And you got some fucking fine grind. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Hey, a shout out to Jennifer with the big $5. Morty, come get your treat. Marty, what are you doing? Of course, guys, every donation comes with a treat for the Overlord. Come here. Yeah, come here. There we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very much. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Very much appreciated. Welcome, welcome, welcome. That is how you come on in. Shout out to Inside of the Ages. Welcome, welcome, welcome. That Andrew's pretty easy to hate, right or wrong? Agreed. Agreed. We also got Brandon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So people like Andrew and the other Ortho Bros weren't Christian, I have a suspicion they'd be the ultimate skeptic atheist type. I agree. I agree. There's it's almost like the mode of thinking is there, but they picked the wrong place to start from. And they started from their conclusion. And they're using all that brain power and philosophy to get to that conclusion. But it's like you're starting from the end point. When he just mogged. I mean, hey, that's how you get mogged. Mogged, bro. Mogged. All right. Thank you again, Jennifer. Let's dive right back in.
Yeah. That's what I hear from you.
Oh, no. The opposite. I'm saying that God is giving you a sequence of duties, not in any way any rights.
When God says thou shalt not,
that's a duty.
The presumption is that we under God's law are protected from being.
Whoa.
Where's that presumption?
I don't know if
the presumption is that God has ordered you not to.
Yeah, that's right. God has ordered me not to kill you.
Right. So there's.
Why does that suppose
my entitlement
that you're entitled to not get?
Because God told you not to do it.
No, God told. Okay, that makes no sense.
How
does it? How does it follow? You would have to
literally. God says you can't do it.
Hang on. You'd have to demonstrate how it follows. That if God says I cannot do a thing, that means you have a right to a thing.
Yes.
Thou shalt not buy a house, but you have a right to.
So here, I don't appreciate how Tim is trying to be like, well, God says you must not kill, therefore you have the right not to be killed, and it doesn't logically follow. And yes, it is within Christianity what is generally believed. But if you're coming down to the philosophy of it specifically, then it's not like that. Thou shalt not mock. Glow in Dark gets it. Glow in Dark gets it.
Right to a thing.
Yeah, let me hear that.
Yes.
It says I cannot do a thing. That means you have a right to a thing.
Right.
Yes.
Thou shalt not buy a house, but you have a right to.
You have free will. You can violate God's law all you want if you're not a Christian, which is the argument you're making. People who are not.
No, it's not. That's not even what we're talking about. That's not even what we're talking about, Tim. Oh my God.
Christian. You can violate God's law all you want if you're not a Christian, which is the argument you're making. People who are not Christians will violate God's law, God's word.
Well,
so then it's not right.
There, I would even go.
The presumption that I don't understand what you're trying to say. That rights are things that are impossible to happen in the real world.
No, I'm saying that a right is a entitlement absent a duty, and I'm saying that the things that.
So if you are a Christian,
hang on, yeah, that's a duty. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree that Christians have duties, but I don't agree with that Christians have rights. So there's no real right to life. You could die at birth, right? You don't really have a right to do this.
Okay.
And also God's nature.
So within, like, I guess philosophically, yes, you would say you don't have a right to life. Legally, though, that would be different. And so but point being, just because your right is infringed upon doesn't mean the right doesn't exist. Just because somebody punches you in the face for saying something doesn't mean that you don't actually have the right. The question is whether or not it's enforceable. And we're getting into force doctrine. Yeah. So, but in common, and this is the other frustrating part, because the Crucible crew is going to understand exactly the context that Andrew is coming from, but people outside of that are just kind of having regular discussion, and he's talking, well, very specifically in this way. And so without saying, oh, well, when you say that specifically means this, then he's purposely playing both sides, where it's like, oh, we're just having a conversation. But also, this is a very specific argument. You know, I mean, do better, bro.
Right? You don't really have a right to do this. And also, God's nature can't be contrary.
You
So,
think babies don't have a right to life?
well, hang on. I'll explain. God's nature can't be contrary. You agree with
See?
that, right?
We'll elaborate what you mean by that.
So, God,
Can't
God
contradict himself?
yeah, he can't make a God more powerful than him.
I disagree with it.
Oh, Jesus, Tim. Oh, you just stepped in it. You just stepped in it, Tim. Oh, Jesus. You think God can make a more powerful God? I don't even remember what I was going to say. What the fuck? We're going to have to take that in 2 steps. Hold on.
Or can't be contrary. You agree with that, right?
Okay, well, that aspect of God's nature can't be contrary. No, you have to prove that. You can't just define God as that which cannot be contradicted, but fair enough. And then Tim says...
We'll elaborate what you mean by that.
So, God,
Can't contradict himself?
yeah, he can't make a God more powerful than him.
I disagree with it.
How can you think that? How could I don't believe in a God, but it doesn't make sense that a God, because Tim says he believes in God, not he believes in gods, not that he believes in a God. And so if you believe in a God, then its ability to create a higher God would make it not God, because then that higher thing would be God. Insight said, at the end of the day, it only matters if it matters. We live in a reality where that will depend on how the simulation is treating you. Yep. Shout out to No Name. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I also, I was saying before how Tim used to be like my #1 guy. He used to be my #1 guy. I was a member and all of that stuff. But, as of late, I just don't like his headspace, and specifically with this, the reason I'm covering this is because I think he tries to align himself more with Christianity than he really believes, because of the fact that it is beneficial. Crowder, I've actually come back around to Crowder. There was it's a matter of understanding how to watch Crowder. Like, I would always be frustrated with Crowder, because like they'd spend so much time like bullshitting and like tagging onto a joke for 5 minutes and just laughing at each other. And it's like, okay, if that's what you're doing here. It's like when I'm looking for like just straight-laced, give me the news, tell me what happened. That's not what I'm in for. But when he covers something that he does go in depth on, I really do appreciate him. So, I go back and forth on Crowder, but I do like him. I don't know, God maths? Like, what God could God use 60% of himself to make a new God and leave 40 of himself? And like this is the nuanced frustration that this conversation itself is not. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a perfectly fine philosophical discussion. But it's frustrating to me that Tim is acting like he is equipped to do it when he's very clearly not. He's very clearly not. Shout out to Where Art Thou Bay. It said, God doesn't exist. Y'all are delusional. I am on your side. Well, actually, technically, I'm agnostic. But hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Abraham Lincoln back now. Welcome. Said polytheistic, monotheistic. It depends on your initial conditions either way. I got the disposition. There you go. All right. Tim is correct as much as anyone else at the moment. Seems no one really agrees. That makes me feel good without knowing. Fair enough. Fair enough. Sassy Sally. Yeah. 100%. It's a futile argument because we can't quantify it. But okay, but that is your position on the argument, and so that's a legitimate position to have on the argument. That's all I'm saying. Is that it's not that you can say, oh, this is a silly thing to discuss because I think this. That's fine, but Tim isn't equipped to make that statement in the first place.
Can't be contrary. You agree with that, right?
We'll elaborate what you mean by that.
So, God,
Can't contradict himself?
yeah, he can't make a God more powerful than him.
I disagree with it.
What?
So you're talking about, good God created a stone so heavy he himself cannot lift it. God can do anything.
That's incoherent.
It's not. Logic only exists within the confines of God's word. God's word is beyond your comprehension.
No, logic is a transcendental category, and since it's a transcendental category, we know it exists, even though it's not physical. But all things bind by it.
Oh, my computer is lagging. But I'll give him that. He does seem to believe, and maybe this is just an aspect of him coming up against the limits of his philosophical knowledge. Fair enough. But in terms of am I going to trust you and to talk about these things? Then,
exist, even though it's not physical, but all things bind by it. Part of God's nature has
Jesus
to.
God?
Yes.
Would Jesus be able to lift a 5-ton boulder?
Jesus was a
Then-
human.
There's no contradiction there.
So certainly Jesus did perform miracles.
But there's no contradictions with those. So those follow the lines of logic. God's nature still has to be logical because it's part of his nature. His ontology is logic.
So
Now, see, as a non-believer,
My
that's
point
where I would. Whoa, we pause. That's where I would jump in and be like, okay, how do you know that? And that seems like a claim without a basis. But because Tim is, trying to suck up and act like he knows all of this stuff, he's not going to ask that type of question. Who else we got? Honestly, who is equipped? Well, the Orthobros think that they are. That's for sure. Superstition, true. Hindu religion speak of war in the sky. No, I don't know. I'm an atheist. I don't know, bro.
He is logic.
So my
Could
point
God,
is-
you're saying God can make a burrito that's so big you can't eat it?
of course,
What? That's incoherent. That's like
it's literally not.
it is. It's totally. That's literally the definition of incoherence.
It's
Totally incoherent.
Literally not.
And so this is why once I heard the square circle thing, because I used to be one of these people that would say, "Oh, God can't do this, therefore God can't do everything." Like, but the point is, God can do all things that can be done. You can't make a square circle cannot be. So he cannot perform contradictions if you believe in this. And so this is what I mean, that I don't believe in this, but I understand what believing in it means.
It's literally not.
It is. It's totally. That's literally the definition of incoherence.
It's
Totally incoherent.
Literally not. I'm going to explain.
How is it not? Okay, go ahead.
So I can use an example like programming. for instance. I can program a video game in which I have absolute authority over the whole thing. I can change the rules at any moment.
Mhm.
Within the confines of this game, I can create a rock that my avatar cannot move.
Sure.
I can program it so that my mouse can't move
I'll
it
grant it.
until I go into the BIOS.
And you
change
both
it.
program the video game and not program the video game?
Yes. What do you mean?
What? How do so you can make a
Tim,
video game that you
Tim,
never made.
come on. Why is this lagging like that? So Tim, when Andrew asked, can you both make the game and not make the game? Tim is understanding, do you have the option to either make the game or not make the game? When what Andrew is exactly. What Andrew's asking is, can you exist in a state where you have made the game and also you have not made the game? Which obviously can't happen.
What are you trying to say?
Can you make a video game that you never made?
Yes.
What?
What do you mean? I've made.
That's direct
I literally can
contradiction.
only make games I've never made.
See?
I don't make the same game twice.
No. Can you
Unless
both
it's a
make a
sequel.
game while at the same time you're not making the game?
Exactly.
But I don't
Can
understand.
the game exist and at the same time not exist?
There is a reality where yes, quite literally, it's called the paradox. Paradoxes are things that exist within.
Tim, this is what I mean. He is so ill-equipped to be able to talk about superpositions and stuff like that. Yes, theoretically, if you are going to talk about string theory or simulation theory or the many worlds theory, then there are all things that can happen do happen. That's not the conversation we're having. Now, again, I'm going to kind of put a little bit more of the blame on Andrew because he has not properly framed what the fuck they are talking about. I've already seen this, so I know what they're talking about. But Tim should be in like, hold on, I don't really understand where you're coming from with this. Instead of trying to answer as if he does, and instead of being willing to be like, oh, I don't understand. That's why I'm frustrated with both sides. Everybody sucks here.
But I don't
Can
understand.
the game exist and at the same time not exist?
There is a reality where yes, quite literally, it's called the paradox. Paradoxes are things that exist within the confines of our logical.
No, that's a
reality.
contradiction. A paradox is different than a contradiction.
Yep.
Tim, you cannot both be me and you. You can only be you.
You don't know that.
Well, yeah, I do because there's no contradiction.
So this is where I feel like you're running into a problem. You
Okay.
think you know God.
Projection. Exactly, Tim. It's you that doesn't understand. It's you that you think. What did he say exactly?
Contradiction.
Oh yeah,
You can-
yeah. The difference between a paradox and a contradiction. He's saying things are paradoxical, and that can exist. Again, not in physical reality, but for sure, theoretically, that can exist. But a paradox is not the same thing as a contradiction, because a contradiction can't exist. We could all be a single entity. We could be. And that's about as like philosophy 101 that Tim can go to. That's where he's going. Well, technically, bro, we all exist. We could all just be brains in a vat, bro. Like, yeah, but we're not really talking about that.
That exist within the confines of our logical.
That's a contradiction. A paradox is different than a contradiction. Tim, you cannot both be me and you. You can only be you.
You don't know that.
well, yeah, I do, because it would violate the law of non-contradiction.
So this is where I feel like you're running into a problem. You think you know God.
Projection.
No, I only understand
Again,
that God has to have a nature.
And what?
So Tim is actually right in one specific area where he is claiming to have a knowledge of God. Now, Tim is not saying it in the proper way, but that is a problem with the basis of this whole Christian nationalist thing, is the claim as to the nature of God. And so that's why this is so frustrating, because he's hitting on the right points, but he's not there. He's not there to be able to tackle what he's saying. Shout out to Dick Johnson. Welcome to the party. And yes, Morty is right here. He is very hungry, and we have a very expensive vet appointment tomorrow if you would like to help out and feed the puppy. Remember, every donation comes with a treat for the Overlord.
You think you know of God?
God tells us his
nature. Looking through a keyhole through a 800-bedroom mansion.
It's based on what God tells us his nature is.
Yes, and God can't. You can't comprehend higher dimensions. It's physically impossible.
This is an energy. What you're talking about is what's called an essence energy distinction. I agree with you that I can only participate in the energy of God. But I cannot understand the essence of God. That I agree with.
I don't think you're a Christian.
Okay. What?
There's a simple question.
This is Catholic dogma, Tim. I don't think you're a Christian, because you're disagreeing with me on the nature of the.
Can God create a boulder so heavy that he himself?
I don't know if he's 100% right, but on that one point, he's spot on. But as you say, his vocabulary is not there. I don't think that's fair. Tim is obviously a lot smarter and well-read than most average people. But yeah, he sometimes just a little too big for your britches, buddy boy.
Cannot lift.
No.
God exists outside of the confines of God create a boulder so heavy that he himself cannot lift.
No.
God exists outside of the confines of this logic in which you think you exist. God is so far beyond you, you cannot comprehend this. To ask if God can lift a rock is asking.
I'm live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So make sure you subscribe, and you know that YouTube sucks with those notifications, so you may as well ring the bell so you never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again.
Like, it's a stupid question, because we are one trechigillionth of the universe, and you are presupposing God lives in your rules. That is
true.
Reductivist, earthly one.
Yes. So Tim is right on that point. But he doesn't have the vocabulary to make the argument. And so even if Andrew was to internalize and agree, oh, yes, I am wrong in this way, he would just debate himself out of it.
Dimensional thinking.
Yeah, so you're saying there's universes where there could be contradictions?
I'm saying
could I interject here with a question on the nature of God for Tim? Tim, do you think that God could be, instead of a supreme good, supreme evil?
Yes.
I don't know that there is such a distinction. God, as the creator of all things, is not going to be good nor. So
again, the question is essentially talking about you guys have heard Descartes, I think therefore I am. His whole basis was, what if everything that I know is not coming from a benevolent God, but from an evil God that's trying to trick me in every single way? And so he stripped away everything that he couldn't know for certain, and he gets all the way down to, I think, therefore I am. There can't be somebody doubting, or there can't be doubt in all of this if there's nobody there to doubt it. And so this is where Tim is coming from, but it doesn't compute. Let's go through it. He said, he said he can't. what was it? We'll back it up, but that he can't understand the difference. Or he said God could be both, but that's good and evil are inherently, by definition, opposing things. So they can't. It can't be both.
Evil.
The supreme good, supreme evil.
Could God be supreme evil?
I don't know that there is such a distinction.
There's not a distinction between all good and all evil? Tim, what the fuck are you talking about, bro?
God, as the creator of all things, is not going to be good nor evil.
What?
I'm not a Christian.
And that's,
But I mean, it would. Okay.
and you know, that's the cop out. Like, well, here's my idea that, you know, God could be, you know, he's pulling an Ian right now. God could be like this thing that's just like everything, bro, and we don't even know if everything is everything. But then stop trying to have this conversation on the grounds of Christianity, because then we just get into this weird discussion about what exactly God is and how do we talk about it. If you're having the conversation about Christianity specifically, stay within the confines of what the ideology is. I mean, hey, that's what the Christians say, right? That's what the Christians say.
God, as the creator of all things, is not going to be good nor evil.
What?
I'm not a Christian.
But I mean, it would. Okay. So.
Well,
So
no. I'm not
the
even-
thing is like what
I'm
you're
not even
saying,
asking-
what you just said is, I understand the nature of God.
No.
I understand that this being who lives in this different dimension that I could never fathom.
I'm saying
could
God
neither
doesn't-
be evil nor good.
Exactly. That's exactly what he did, which is just exactly the same thing that the Christians do. So just like the other night when I was on Confluence stream and I was talking to Emmett and he tried to tag me again, and it just got all the way down, my preferences, my preferences, my preferences. Morality is nothing but agreed upon preferences. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that that makes you feel bad. There's no rock called God that's grounding all of this. But unless you can prove that that God is there, then we are not going to operate as if he is.
Saying what you just said is, I understand the nature of God.
No.
I understand that this being who lives in this different dimension that I could never fathom.
I'm saying
could
God
neither
doesn't-
be evil nor good. That's you making a
Bro.
declaration that you understand the nature of God.
No, it's that I would not describe God as good or evil because God exists outside the confines of human comprehension.
Okay.
To
And can
assert
exist in
that-
contradiction.
Because
If I
contradiction
could-
exists
That's
only.
the question. Can he exist in contradiction? So fine, that's fair to say, all right, well, God exists outside of my understanding. So I'm not going to say he's good or bad, or that he can't be both good and evil. Okay, but then what is the purpose of this word, this idea of God? If it's just like a thing that you don't understand, what is its relevance to your life?
To
And can
assert
exist in
that-
contradiction.
Because
If I could-
contradiction exists only within our reality.
No.
You cannot comprehend what exists outside of
Literally, the laws of logic do not actually exist physically in our reality. They're transcendental. They're transcendental categories. They govern our reality.
I
but
don't
they
think you're
exist.
Christian.
Okay, what? Well, this is all.
You're saying
this is all
God
Christian
has to
dogma.
follow these rules. Period.
No, I'm saying that
It's so weird. It's so weird that he's chosen to be like, you're not a Christian then. Like, of all the times and places and people that you could say that to on Timcast IRL, Tim being the one to say it to Andrew, it's just like, what are we fucking doing? What are you fucking doing? God could also be medium. Could be. Or he could be fake. He probably don't even understand his own genius take. Yeah, big galaxy brain. Pat said people don't follow God's rules. Then they claim that Jesus died for their sins. No, Jesus did not. But people wanting to buy that BS, do evil and think they go to heaven. Anyway, I'm not sure I fully understood that, but I think I see where you're coming from.
well, this is all.
You're saying
this is
God
all Christian
has
dogma.
to follow these rules. Period.
No, I'm saying that God has a nature like Tim has a nature. Like, for instance, okay, your nature as Tim, the things that make up you. You have a heart and you have lungs and you have things like this, and your heart and your lungs and things like this do work inside of your body that assist your body in moving and functioning and this and that. They're part of what you are. To take all of those things out would change who you are. Okay. This is the same thing with God. We're just saying that there's a part of God's nature which he has shared with us as part of his nature.
Wait, what is it? Tim seems to think that Andrew is the same as he is in falling short of belief. Can you say more on that? What do you mean? Tim seems to think that Andrew is the same as he in falling short of belief, meaning that they're both. Yeah. Just say a little bit more on this one, please. He literally twerked for our sins, you guys.
Saying that there's a part of God's nature which he has shared with us as part of his nature, as the logos. The logos, part of it is logic.
Only part.
Yeah, but that would mean that part of God's nature is to not violate logic.
So then, Tim, when you say, well, that's only part of God. Okay, what is the relevance of that only being part of God? How does that undercut anything that I said or help what you said? You're just saying things. Remember, guys, if you are on the vertical stream and you would rather be on the regular landscape stream, both are open. The link to the landscape stream is in the description. Just hit the dots and you will be over here. And if you could really quick, do me a huge favor and double tap the screen to like the video.
Did God create this universe, or is this universe just a function of God?
God created the universe.
So God could change the rules?
Well, no, that would be illogical.
God could not change the rules of the universe.
No, it would go contrary to. So it's like what you're asking me is this: what would it be like if fire wasn't hot? Well, now we've changed the fundamental reality of what fire is.
So I'll simplify it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe.
And when I'm saying yes, right, exactly. I'm not necessarily expressing that I'm agreeing with Andrew, because again, I don't believe in this stuff. But I'm judging the conversation as, okay, if this is what you believe, this must follow. Can you imagine God to evolve to defy logic at will? I mean, I don't see why not, but I'm not a Christian. Insight says just that Tim. So yeah, the other one. What do you say? Tim seems to think that Andrew is the same as he in falling short of belief. I asked for some clarification. Just that Tim seems to have an elevated standard that he does not meet. He does not think Andrew does either. I don't think anyone is correct. That is part of the design of There Is One. Fair enough. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, but hey, I mean, he's still out there doing his thing, right? So we can't ignore the people who are influencing our politics. Welcome to the party.
Change the fundamental reality of what fire is.
So I'll simplify it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe our reality, first of all, what we think we know in science, there are higher dimensions we can't perceive. This implies, as most scientific discoveries in the last 130 years, if we choose to believe them, for instance, the electromagnetic spectrum, humans, or air is my favorite example. Humans did not know that air existed because they couldn't perceive it until there was this guy who was showering who realized that there is matter in and all around us. There have been numerous instances where humans realize that things we can't perceive exists. Mm-hmm. And that is indicative of humans don't know nearly enough about the universe, and that we do know. The discovery of the charged...
Okay, fine then. But Tim, that just means you're agnostic. Stop saying you believe in God when you don't believe in the thing that everybody's referring to as God. This is the whole fucking problem with when I say God is very bad at being a word. The purpose of a word is to take my thoughts and ideas and turn it into a sound that then transfers those thoughts and ideas into your head. When I say dog, or, well, yeah, if I say Morty, you picture, I don't want to wake him up, he's over here, but you picture my dog, or if you don't know, you picture a dog that will suffice for whatever sentence I'm talking about with dog. But if you're not transferring that information with the word God, then why use it? So if you're a Christian, then there are much more specific definitions of what that God is, even if it's not down to a T. But if you're not, then stop muddying the waters both for secular conversation and for religious Christian conversation by using the word God where it does not belong.
That things we can't perceive exists. Mm-hmm. And that is indicative of humans don't know nearly enough about the universe, and that we do know. The discovery of the charged electromagnetic spectrum revolutionized human thought because we didn't realize that what we touch, smell, see, and hear as reality is less than a millionth or a billionth of what reality actually is.
Or a trillionth. Or a trillionth. Who knows? Yeah.
And not understanding dark matter, we are a speck in a massive universe on the ass of a mosquito relative to what God is or could be. Humans,
again, just basic, like, oh, first time I took acid, bro, it's like we're just a speck of dust in time, bro. Like, God could be like all of this shit, man. It's like, yeah, we've all thought about this. This is not galaxy brain take here. This is not what we're talking about. So that's just an ad hominem attack. He isn't a moron. He's a grifter. Fair enough. Shout out to David. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I fully agree that language is insufficient to encompass God. And that's why I think it's more useful, instead of using the word God, to have more discussions about what God would be like. But that's a whole other discussion. Shout out to White White's got my shit going. We rolling up. That's unironic compliments of view of God. Well, yeah, that's why I think he is a deist. I don't think he I think he is I think he follows Christianity, but what he defines God as is not, the theistic God that can reach into the universe. It's just, I think when he was debating me, he used the term the highest good. So whatever is the highest good is God. But then the conversation, that begs the question, okay, what is the highest good? What does that mean? I don't know, whatever that is. And fair enough. I'm not saying that you have to know, but don't make it seem like not believing in God is this whole horrible thing when you can't even define what God is. Shout out to Sugar in the Tank. Said, God came to me in a dream and said that I should sacrifice my son. Should I do what Abraham did? No. Do not listen to voices in your head telling you to kill your children. I don't care what year it is. I don't care how much you believe in God. I don't care what you define God as. If you're hearing voices that is telling you to kill your children, please seek help. At worst case scenario, you find a therapist who's like, oh shit, yo, God's really talking to you. Go for it. Whose fault is that? Was he going to? Exactly. All right, nabbing back in here.
Who knows? Yeah.
And not understanding dark matter, we are a speck in a massive universe on the ass of a mosquito relative to what God is or could be. Humans saying, I know the nature of God, is arrogance that defies the idea of what we know we are limited in thinking.
I agree with that part. That's what makes me agnostic, that I don't think myself or any of you or anyone else in the world has the ability to actually make that type of determination. That's why I am agnostic. That's why I don't have a belief in a God, but I'm not against the notion that there could be one. But again, the frustration is that Tim wants to play both sides.
That is, the average person thinks infinity is a number.
Yeah, but that makes,
Go to the average person,
that makes
say,
no
what is it?
sense, because all the things that you're saying right now and attributes are trying to define the nature of God, even though you don't think you are. If you're saying, so for instance, if you say,
want to put God in a box, I'm saying God
no,
exists beyond
it's
our
the opposite. So if you say God is so complex you can't understand it, you have actually given me criteria for the nature of God. If you say God is timeless,
lack of knowledge.
Yeah, if you say God is timeless, you've given me criteria for the nature of God. If you say God exists in the 19th dimension, you have now expressed the nature of God. So what we're doing is the same exact thing. I'm expressing to you the biblical nature of God. What God expresses to us is part of his nature.
Atheist argument to me.
It's not atheist.
So
no,
it's the opposite. It's dogma.
Atheists are the ones who argue to me that the universe is
come on,
mathematical, logical, cold, and it is what it is.
What the fuck?
It is
Jesus Christ. Yeah. So this is again a perfect example of Tim not understanding. You made the atheist argument that we can't know, so to claim a belief in it is whatever. That's the atheist argument, and that's a good argument in terms of the belief, the truth claims at least. But then you somehow flip it around.
So what we're doing is the same exact thing. I'm expressing to you the biblical nature of God. what God expresses to us
You're
is
making
part
an
of his
atheist
nature.
argument to me.
It's not atheist.
So
It's the opposite. It's dogma.
atheists are the ones who argue to me that the universe is mathematical, logical, cold, and it is what it is. It is functions as such.
No, they're physicalists. They
And
would argue the opposite.
Einsteinian God, which is an atheist view, is the view that that God is a God of science and that exists as some form of the universe. And then my view of God is that God exists beyond, and that our concept.
There isn't such thing as the agnostic argument. Agnostic just means I don't know. So if I don't know, then I can speculate any bajillion million different types of things. So me being agnostic and Tim being agnostic, which he is, we then are, the door is open for us to have these like stoner type conversations. Like, what if God is just like a rock and like all that kind of stuff? That's fair. But that is taking it outside of the theistic realm. That's not what a theistic God is. Exactly as Tim is saying, that's the deistic God, or the God of Spinoza, the one that Einstein referred to.
And then my view of God is that God exists beyond, and that our concepts of physics are just components of what God has created, and God is likely beyond our own perception and comprehension.
But you've said a bunch of things. You're having entailments. God creates.
Mhm.
So we know that for sure, right?
And in science, nothing.
So if God, so hang on. So if God creates, and God was the first thing.
That's exactly what Tim said. Oh, sorry. I misread. My bad. I misread it. I thought it said that isn't the agnostic argument. My bad. We're on the same page. My bad. I'm like, what are we arguing about? My bad. All right.
Nothing.
So if God, so hang on. So if God creates and God was the first thing, then that means God was uncreated.
Yes.
Yeah. So if God was uncreated and God created, now we know something about the nature of God.
Certainly.
Yeah. So this is my whole point. And so we could say the same thing, right? Same thing here.
I think you're an atheist.
Okay. Well,
No, Tim, because then you have the question, okay, how then do we determine whether or not God was or was not created? How can you say that this is the nature of the God that I believe in, and then Tim says you're an atheist? I don't think you know what these words mean, Tim.
and so we could say the same thing, right? Same thing here.
I think you're an atheist.
Okay. Well, that makes no
you're
sense.
Making
but
the best. You're making the best case argument for atheism I've ever heard.
how?
That God is what we experience in the universe is what we would describe as God. It is the definition of everything atheists have ever argued to me.
I'm not even making arguments to you right now. All I'm doing is expressing to you
God
that
is not all powerful.
No, the opposite.
So again, a misunderstanding of Tim saying that, oh, well, the universe works in certain ways and has laws of logic and physics and da-da-da-da-da-da. Even if you want to go to the Big Bang specifically, but we don't have to, if that confuses me, then Tim believes that because Andrew isn't saying that, God just rolled it out as a plan, that he's an atheist. In the same way that many atheists believe that because there is no God, then everything just kind of played out based on some, initial cause that maybe we don't know or whatever it is. Those are, in both cases, like you've probably heard people say things along the lines of like, I believe that God triggered evolution or something like that. And the point being that these things aren't completely antithetical. You can be an atheist who believes in spirituality, and you can be a Christian who believes in science and stuff. But because Andrew's talking about science, then Tim's like, oh, science, not religion, must be an atheist. What?
Arguments to you right now. All I'm doing is expressing to you
God
that
is not all powerful.
No, the opposite.
You said God can't create a boulder he cannot lift.
No, because
Every single
Yeah,
priest,
do you know what-
theologian I've talked to has said the opposite.
no, none of them. They're dogma.
God can't do that, not because God is a failure, if there was a God, again, within the Christian framework. God can't do that, not because God is a failure or that is a limitation of God's power, but that is a limitation of the logic of what can exist. I'm surprised that Andrew hasn't brought up the square circle, because that's a much easier thing to imagine, or rather hit a wall when you're trying to imagine the square circle. Whereas when you think of a boulder that can or cannot be lifted, it's just about, oh, is it too heavy or whatever it is. When you highlight the contradiction, It makes a lot more sense.
Every single
Yeah,
priest
do you know what-
and theologian I've talked to has said the
Yeah,
opposite.
no, none of them. Their dogma literally would prevent them from defying the nature of God. Not a single theologian on planet Earth who's a priest has ever said to you, Tim, God could create a God more powerful than him. That never happened.
No, they said
It's not possible.
claim to understand the power of God is arrogance to assert that you know what
I'm
God
not
could or could
saying
not
what
do.
the power of God is. I don't know exactly what the limits of all
Nature.
powerful are.
No, you're saying
All I
this
under-
reality is a
Yeah.
part of God and is what it is, and it's contradictory and unchanging.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that.
Right. So what Tim thinks is going on is that Andrew is saying that God has to be X, Y, and Z. Has to be. So okay, all right, wait. Spin that back a second. So Tim thinks that Andrew's making an argument as to how God must be, coming from the basis of I understand, not from the basis of, well, logic dictates that if this is what God is, therefore that entails. They're two completely different arguments, and Tim doesn't fucking get it.
Is a part of God and is what it is, and it's uncontradictory and unchanging.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that the laws of logic, right? The law of identity, the law of non-contradiction, the law of excluded middle are part of the nature of God. We know this because this is how God created everything and how God expressed to us he creates. So if that is the case, we can understand that that's part of God's nature. He will not.
And again, as the atheist, as the non-believer, I would say, okay, how do you know all that stuff? But again, that's not the conversation that they're having.
We can understand that that's part of God's nature. He will not defy his nature because it's his nature. Will not defy.
The nature of God, as you described it,
Not
is
after the
universe.
No,
verticals.
it's not the universe. The universe had a creator,
Yes, and the
and that creator had to be uncreated.
and the universe is a part of God.
No, that's a Gnostic belief.
That's what you just said.
No, I didn't say
Not
that
what you said.
at all.
You said
it's a Gnostic belief to
He has
believe
given-
that
the
everything
logos
is
of the
parts
universe,
of
the
God.
logic is a part of God.
No. Logic is part of God's nature.
Oh.
You're saying
What I want you guys to really understand about this is not so much about who's right and who's wrong. This is a demonstration of when to fucking eat some humble pie. Again, I don't believe in this stuff. I don't believe in this stuff. But I could have some, basic to moderate level philosophical discussions about them. But then I would reach a point where I would have to be like, oh, okay, that's just out of my depth. What's wrong here is not that it's out of Tim's depth. It's that Tim doesn't understand that he's out of his depth. David said, God can create a stone that will never be lifted because he makes that reality. Not that he can't lift it, but that it will not be done. Yeah, that's a different. Again, that's a because I could make a painting where, or I could make a story where I introduce a rock that is never lifted. But that doesn't mean that I am a god in that same way. I mean, you could certainly think of it that way. But the question isn't so much about can I write that or will I write that? It's about can I, again, go back to the square circle. If I'm writing a book and I have God powers over this book, am I allowed to say, well, within the physical laws of the reality that we all know, this guy made a square circle or I made a square circle? No, because that is not a thing. That's not a limitation of my power to write the book. That's not a limitation of God's power, if he exists, on Earth or in the universe. It's a limitation of the linguistic aspect to demonstrate that that is not a thing that can be done. Right, and so even if I'm the creator of that world, I still can't make, again, I could write, well, in this universe, you could make square circles. Yeah, I could write that. But if I'm saying on the Earth that we all live on, I created a square circle, that's not a thing that would make sense. Would you go into depths for a Morty treat? I'll do whatever you want for a Morty treat. He is hungry. Let's get the puppy some food. And really, guys, those vet appointments are fucking expensive. I could use some help. I could use some help.
Part of God.
No. Logic is part of God's nature. You're saying that because the universe is also governed by logical rules, that means that it's part of God. That doesn't even follow.
No,
You said that.
No, the opposite. I'm saying the opposite of that.
So God is illogical.
No, that doesn't even make sense either. What you're saying, all these things you say, they don't follow from one another. So you have to back up to the beginning.
Yeah, so you said the logos,
Mhm.
God, the logic, God is non-contradictory.
Yeah.
What God cannot create a boulder that he himself cannot lift.
Yeah,
That is illogical.
no, because it's against its nature.
What does that mean?
It means that you can't do
This is the part that started to piss me off on the other way. It's against his nature. How the fuck do you know that? This is going back to what Tim was just saying about you're saying this is the nature of God. You're claiming to know this, that God will not do that. Maybe he won't, but how the fuck do you know that? Hey, Jason, with the $2 make you holler, no question, no comment, just pure love of the game. Come here, Bubs. Come here. They're waiting on you, buddy boy. They're waiting on you, buddy boy. Yeah. Make sure we get you on the vertical stream. There we this way. There we go. There we go. Thank you. So very, very much. Remember, guys, every single donation comes with a treat for the Overlord. We've got a vet appointment in the morning. Well, in the afternoon. It's the morning for me because, I'm up late. But wishing for the best. Thank you so very, very much. Chris, welcome. Said, oh man, these two guys are nuts on their own, but having them debate each other. Exactly. Welcome. Thank you again, Jason. Let's dive right back in. So yeah, this is where Andrew starts to piss me off about, well, that's just not the nature of God. Okay, how do you know that?
Non-contradictory.
Yeah.
What God cannot create a boulder that he himself cannot lift.
Yeah, no, because it's against his nature.
What does that mean?
It means that you can't do things which defy your nature because otherwise you wouldn't be you.
Explain his nature.
I just did. Part of his nature is the logos and the law of.
So when Tim needs to drill down harder on, okay, what is God's nature? Because yes, you could say, again, within the Christian framework, that if God was uncreated, then that is a part of the nature of God. Fair enough. But how do you know that? How do you know that? You're just claiming that.
You.
Explain his nature.
I just did. Part of his nature is the logos and the law of logic. That's part of his nature.
That cannot be changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's where I'd be like, okay, well, maybe I'm dumb. Can you lay it out for me real simple?
I suppose God could change his nature, but why you can't change your nature? You wouldn't change your nature.
God can't change his nature.
You wouldn't change your nature. That's the right way to phrase it. You wouldn't change your nature.
Or can he not?
Could he?
Yes.
I don't know, but I don't think it matters because your nature is what matters.
It absolutely matters because you can't use God as an objective, absolute morality if what God is, the nature of God, can change just if he decides it. That's why I hate both sides of this argument. None of this makes any fucking sense. None of it. How can you say that God is the unchanging, absolute authority and basis for morality, but also he could change if he feels like it? And I'm the one that doesn't have a basis for morality? Come on.
Change his nature.
You wouldn't change your nature. That's the right way to phrase it. You wouldn't change your nature.
Or can he not?
Could he?
Yes.
I don't know, but I don't think it matters because your nature is what matters.
So you agree with me?
I'm just gonna.
No, I don't agree with you. What you're saying is antithetical to actual dogma.
I'm just put this out there. If you're a moderator, please don't be talking about how boring my stream is. Thank you.
No, the beginning of the conversation was me saying that God could change the rules as he's created them, and you said he could not.
No, because the entailment of could is a violation of nature. So if it's a violation of nature and you wouldn't, you might as well say couldn't.
Why?
That's not an argument to what I just said.
It is an argument.
No, it's
if
not.
I can't make Tim not be Tim because Tim has a nature. Could Tim, if I gave Tim a different nature, do a different thing than his nature? Yeah, sure.
So, okay, but if we don't know, that's a perfect example. So if we don't say or rather, if we say this is God's nature and it's unchanging and it's absolute, then you can't also say God could change it whenever he wants. Because then both of those things could be true in terms of what God can do, but then you don't have an unchanging, absolute, objective morality. It's one or the other. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So they're basically just, I don't even really know how they got started, but just heated debate on the nature of God is the title here. And this was posted by the Crucible, not Tim. I got you, Dick. I'm just letting you know. David said, agree. That was a crap argument from Andrew. God's nature is either our reality or he isn't a God of this reality. Bingo! Bingo!
Him. If I gave Tim a different nature, do a different thing than his nature. Yeah, sure.
So
Well, what does that have to do with anything?
you think God is limited?
You're not looking to Tim or any other human. You're good, Dick. We're not looking to Tim or any other human whose nature could be changed or could have a different nature as an absolute morality. That's what's supposed to be different and special about God. If it's not, then why are we using this as our basis?
In his nature. Yeah, sure.
So
Well, what does that have to do with anything?
you think God is limited and in his capability?
Well, you would have to tell me how that's limited.
God cannot affect the rules of his universe in a way that would defy your view of
Wouldn't.
That's correct.
And if he
Correct.
wouldn't, then he couldn't because he wouldn't.
Okay, but
that is not an argument.
Well, not only is it an argument, but
no, it's a claim. You're saying, Andrew is saying God would not do that. Okay, that's a claim. Verify that claim. You can't say that's not in God's nature unless you can tell me what God's nature is. I can tell you that Morty's nature is to wake up about 30 minutes before I want to wake up and start rolling around. I have to tell him to sit down and lay down and whatever. Then he's got to pee in the morning. Then he likes to eat breakfast while I'm taking my morning shit. It's probably not the most sanitary thing, but whatever. And so those are things about Morty that are in his nature. But either because of the fact that, you know, from when he was a puppy to when he got older, those things might change, or because I don't have a full understanding of his nature, then I cannot use that as my basis for morality. As I've been saying the whole time, ever since I was sitting right in front of him, and he still couldn't fucking understand.
Cannot affect the rules of his universe in a way that would defy your view of logic.
wouldn't. And if he wouldn't, then he couldn't because he wouldn't.
That is not an argument.
Well, not only is it an argument, but Tim,
You are literally saying nothing.
Tim, you couldn't fly, right? Whether or not you would fly, okay, or could fly.
I'm not surprised. Perfect video. Someone I know pointing out to Andrew on a TikTok live that he doesn't know the difference between an argument and a claim. He also doesn't know the difference between an atheist and a leftist. Fucking retard. Fucking retard. You got it's on YouTube. What's the title? We'll pull that shit up.
Right? Whether or not you would fly, okay, or could fly. If you wouldn't fly, you couldn't fly, right?
You're not saying anything.
That's
Bro,
that's
What am I not saying?
Can God do thing is a
That are outside the violation of his nature.
Yes, but again, we haven't gotten that far. So Andrew is saying because Lutch would not kill somebody in cold blood, then Lutch could not kill somebody in cold blood. Now, I agree. It's not in my nature to just go and kill somebody in cold blood. That doesn't mean that I cannot do it. That does not mean that I cannot do it. Those are two entirely different things. All right, I'm going to try to find this while we watch this one, Brandon. Thank you, sir. Danny Filter.
Won't do them, no.
what is his nature?
Part of
Thank
his
you.
nature would be logic.
Part
Okay.
of his nature. Okay, and then.
So what you're saying is there is a logical structure to God that he cannot change.
Could change. When you
But
say
would not.
when you say potentiality for could, right? It's irrelevant to the view of
So
will
he
not.
can do it. He doesn't want to do it.
Possible. I don't know, because I don't understand the limitation of all powerful.
Which was my first point.
Yeah, but it just doesn't matter.
To assert that God could not do a thing because you can't understand it.
Yeah, because wouldn't here is what we're focusing on.
So how do you know that God wouldn't do a thing?
Yes, there we go.
What did he say?
Thank you.
Inside.
How do you know that God wouldn't do that? How do you know that God wouldn't do that? Has God not ordered genocides? Has God not ordered men to take their children to the top of the mountain and kill them? Did God not destroy Job's entire existence for a bet with the devil? What the fuck are we talking about? Chris says, Andrew, born again Christian? No, he is an Orthodox or Eastern Orthodox Christian. Well, let's see if we have. So this was the share, this, Jesus Christ, my words are getting all up there. Do we have? Is it the top one? If it's it looks like how long is this? Because it's 27 minutes. Do you know how far in it is? Let's take a little look. Let's take a little look. A little side quest.
Hello, Danny. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. What's going on?
Just living the dream. How are you?
That's good to hear. I heard you earlier say that when you say secular, I'm presuming like people that don't believe in God or something like that, that those people couldn't have ought claims. I was wondering what the argument was for
Well, you can make an ought claim, but its justification foundation has no grounding. So anybody's ought claim is just as good as yours if you think that all morality is subjective.
Okay. What's the argument that let's say atheists can't be more realist?
Yep.
You can claim that you're a moral realist, but you need to give me a stance independent reason for how you're a moral realist that actually makes sense and is grounded.
No, but you're making the claim that there can't be such a foundation on atheism. What's the argument for that?
I just told you, secularists that have a subjective moral foundation. So if anybody makes an ought claim who's a secularist, they're only appealing to themselves. What makes your ought claim better than theirs?
Well, first of all, that's just another claim that atheists or secularists are committed to subjectivism. I want the contradiction with the atheist worldview and a non-subjectivist moral framework.
You can't be a non-subjectivist if you don't have something to appeal to. It's all subjective.
That's another claim. That's just not an argument. Do you know what argument is?
Okay, so Danny, why don't you steel man my position?
You don't have a position. You're just making claims without arguments.
Okay. Do you need to have grounding of any kind to appeal to some kind of moral system? Does there need to be grounding in your estimation or not?
I don't want to change the subject. Do you have an argument for your claim or no?
I just made an argument. I made multiple arguments.
You don't know the
You're
difference.
not responding.
It seems like you don't know the difference between a claim.
It seems like you're stupid and can't respond. Can you respond? Tell me how is your
when you don't know what an argument?
Make an ought claim, Danny.
Again, I'm not changing the subject, right?
You're not gonna.
Oh, projection! You don't know the difference between the two things that I just said. Clearly said I don't know the difference between dilly dilly. Oh my God! Now I'm willing to, especially on TikTok, I'm willing to extend some grace. No, we're going to watch the rest of this. We're going to extend some grace. And maybe he was misspeaking. Because in the TikTok thing, especially with these lefty tit-for-tat guys, the Parkers, the Deans, it's not, as much as, it's a taste of Andrew's own medicine. It's not. So we'll start with giving him grace. It
seems like you're stupid and can't respond. Can you respond? Tell me how is your when
you don't know what an argument.
Make an ought claim, Danny.
Again, I'm not changing the subject, right?
You're not gonna. Yeah. Okay. Goodbye, Danny.
We're running away.
What happened? Play. I mean, I think that was essentially it, but. What happened?
Made an argument. I made multiple arguments.
You don't know the difference.
You're not responding.
It seems like you don't know the difference between a claim.
It seems like you're stupid and can't respond. Can you respond? Tell me how is your
when you don't know what an argument.
Make an ought claim, Danny.
Again, I'm not changing the subject, right?
You're not gonna. Yeah. Okay. Goodbye, Danny.
We're running away. Bye, loser.
There's no running away. You won't respond.
You ran running just like Matt Dillon.
Secularists have a subjective.
Oh, did you guys catch that line? Shout out to Brandon for this one. Fucking great. Listen to what this Danny kid said. Here, let's put the captions back here. Ooh.
Okay, goodbye, Danny.
We're running away. Bye, Luther.
There's no
You are running away.
You
can't
won't. You
support your
won't.
claim.
You won't respond.
You
won't
ran
respond.
running just like Matt Dillahunty.
Secularists have a subject.
Like Matt Dillahunty. Oh my God. Mogged. Thank you so very, very much for that. Is there more? Is there? We'll come back to it if it's if we've got time and all that stuff. But is there more to it, or was it mainly just that part? All right, let's dive into the debate and see how it's going for Tim Dim and Andrew.
Understand it.
Yeah, because wouldn't here is what we're focusing on.
So how do you know that God wouldn't do a thing?
Because he told us.
What did he say?
Inside the Bible, he's very
Specifically.
Oh, he didn't lie.
descriptive about his nature
What'd
and
he
how he
say?
operates.
Tell me what he said.
We'd have to pull up the Bible so we could go over it.
Go over which part of the Bible?
Well, we would
Where
have to
is it?
start with Genesis and then go through the entire ontological nature expressed through the Trinity.
This is just cope. Well, I mean, this is like when Hassan gets called out for shit like that. Then he'll be like, "Oh, well, fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. What did he just say? He just said, oh yeah. Well, it's out of context. You watch a 20-minute clip of Hassan doing something fucking wild, whether it's shocking his dog, supporting terrorists, just straight up lying, looking at information on the screen and pretending that is complete, whatever it is. You see that clip, oh, that's out of context. You got to see the whole 10-hour stream in order to get that when I said that lie, that it actually wasn't a lie, because in the greater context, da-da-da-da-da. Andrew's doing the same thing. Well, God told us. Okay, what did God say? The Bible. Even if you want to be that broad, okay, why should I trust that the Bible is what it is said to be? Not saying that there's not an answer. Just that is the question that needs to be addressed as we are having this conversation. Proverbs. So, okay, what does Proverbs 12:1 say?
Well, we would have to start with Genesis and then go through the entire ontological nature expressed through the Trinity.
So you don't know.
Yeah, I do know. And so, like,
can't
God is the Alpha and the Omega. He's the beginning and the end. We know that, right?
Yep.
Okay, so this would infer timelessness.
I suppose, right?
Yeah, if you're both the beginning and the end.
I don't know though.
If you're both those things at the same time, then time can't apply to you, right?
Not necessarily.
How could time apply to you if you're the beginning of it and the end of it?
If it has a beginning and an end, it has time.
No, not if you're the beginning and the end at the same time.
Is that what it says?
Yeah. If you are the beginning and the end.
My point is, I do not believe that it is possible for a human to understand the true nature of God.
Neither do we.
And that the assertion that God could not do a thing implies knowledge of God
Would not
beyond the comprehension.
do a thing.
That's
even more knowledge.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
That's even more knowledge. To say that God would not do a thing. Like you could say very easily that Lutch would not try to jump off his roof and fly. Accurate statement. If you're strong to say that Lutch could not jump off his roof and attempt to fly, well, that entails a number of things. Why can't I? Am I unable? Am I too short? I can't reach it? Am I missing a limb? Am I in a wheelchair? So you're actually implying that you know more about somebody if you're saying they can't do something, versus if you're, at least in this context, if you're saying they wouldn't. Because okay, fine, you could find it on both sides. But either way, Tim's spot on that you are claiming to know the knowledge of God or the nature of God. You are claiming in God's nature, he would not do this thing. Okay, how do you know that? The Bible. Okay, what does it say in the Bible? Lots of stuff. Come on, man.
Would not
Beyond the
would not
comprehension.
do a thing.
But that makes no sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. It's a basic ontological argument. The idea that you will not go beyond the confines of your nature, whether you could or not, has no bearing on anything.
Right. So if God,
Right, but no one's even claiming anything about whether God would or would not go against his nature. At this point, the question simply is, how do you know what God's nature is such that you would say this activity is outside of God's nature? You would have to know the nature of God completely in order to say what it is not. It's like just because you're good friends with somebody doesn't mean that you know what kind of fucking P-Hub content they watch. Just because you know, oh, I know this guy really well. I let him house sit for me, and he picked me up from the airport, and that doesn't mean you know what he would not do, down to the level that he could not do it. How many times do we hear about either a PDF or a serial killer? And they're like, oh, I had no idea, kept to himself, and he said hi and did this, and this is not how logic works. Shout out to Colt Ferguson. So listening to Christians is confusing. They can't agree upon anything. Agreed, which is precisely why I reject any type of cultural authority based in Christianity. Now, that doesn't mean that if your basis overlaps with Christianity, that is bad. I think in most cases, that's probably good. Most cases. But they can't agree. Jason said, I don't understand. They wrote, I don't understand that they wrote and spoke. When someone has to explain it, then I fall asleep. Never had faith and certainty. Yep. Well, again, those are mutually exclusive. You can't have faith in something that you're certain of, because then you're just certain of it, and vice versa. What about Trump? All right, let's dive again.
Beyond the confines of your nature, whether you could or not, has no bearing on anything.
Right. So if God can't do a thing, he's not all powerful.
It's not can't. You keep on using the word can't.
God
or
wouldn't.
could.
If I could interject here with
Andrew is the one that said it's so far outside of his nature that it's justified to say that God could not do it because he wouldn't do it to such a strong degree. Again, that's begging the question. He said, hey, religion is hard enough to deal with. Let's not throw politics into it. Well, hey, that's all I ever want. That's all ever I want. For you Christians to take your ideology, your philosophy, and keep that to the side and do whatever you want with it. I'm not saying you can't bring those ideas into the political realm, but religion and politics should be different things that, of course, are going to intermingle, because the things that we want politicized are going to come from the things that we care about, which is going to come from the things that we believe in. But further away we could keep it differentiated and separated, the better for all.
You keep on using the word can't.
God
or
wouldn't.
could.
if I could interject here with an example, and this is why I asked the question about God being the ultimate good or ultimate evil. One example that I would give is God can.
Okay, in case you just are joining us, the caller before asked Tim, do you think that God could be an all evil being? And Tim said something along the lines of, well, we don't know. He could be both good and evil. What that means, I have no fucking clue.
But if I could interject here with an example, and this is why I asked the question about God being the ultimate good or ultimate evil. One example that I would give is God cannot be the ultimate evil. Kind of for what Andrew would say is this is a logical contradiction, because if God was the ultimate evil, then that would mean he is ultimately like he's the maximal being in all sorts of negative attributes. One of them being selfishness, another one being anger. Selfishness to the point of wanting to be the only being in existence, but anger to the point of wanting other beings to exist to torment them arbitrarily.
Why does
Okay, and why is that impossible? What part of God being so angry that he doesn't even want people around, but so sadistic or whatever that he actually changes his mind and supersedes that? Why is it? How do you know that God could not or would not do that? Again, I'm not saying that he would or could or should. I'm asking you Christians, and specifically the caller here, how do you know what you are claiming?
The point of wanting other beings to exist to torment them arbitrarily.
Why does anger exist?
Why does anger exist?
Yes.
It's just a non sequitur. It has nothing to do with his argument.
It's
He just said
it's an attribute.
Right. He's
It's-
explaining that God can't be angry. So I'm asking, what is anger?
No,
Why does
no,
it
no,
exist?
no, no.
You didn't say that.
That's not what I said. What I said is God cannot be the ultimate evil. Because
Yes.
to be the ultimate evil
You would have to be
have
the anger
would,
and
you would have to be the maximal being in certain negative attributes that are going to conflict with each other.
like what?
So imagine
There you go. Now you're
so
asking-
like you're a comic book guy.
Sam?
So imagine that you had the ultimate Red Lantern meshed with the ultimate Orange Lantern. Those two character traits conflict with each other.
This is a bad example because you know about the White Lantern Corps.
Yeah, I'm not saying that
Bad
comic
example.
books are coherent logically. I'm saying you have two character traits
Colors.
that as the maximal being.
And that's literally how light works. So, I mean, again, as a non-believer, I don't really know what point Homeboy is trying to make. But the notion that a being cannot be maximally good in one area and maximally bad in another area is just yet another claim. Claims after claims after claims after claims after claims. You have to verify some of this shit eventually.
In both of these attributes cannot simultaneously exist.
It's a bad example because the White Lantern Corps is the merger of all the attributes into one. They all simultaneously coexist.
Guys, our Discord preacher, he wrote down, his name is like Malaki 36. His name, I don't know his name, Malachi 36. For I am the,
Malachi.
Malachi, thank you.
Mhm.
For I am the Lord, I don't read the Bible. For I am the Lord, I do not change. Therefore, you are not consumed. Zero sons of Jacob.
Do not change. That's part of his nature.
And so the question
How's that do with
is,
the right to life that we started out with?
do we know 100?
That is a
do
great
we
question,
know
Raymond.
God so absolutely that we can perceive him in full?
No, which is the basis of your entire argument that you are saying God could not do this. That entails knowing God's nature fully. And they're about to say that they don't have that.
How's that do with the right to life that we started out with?
Do we know 100?
That is a great
do we
question,
know
Raymond.
God so absolutely that we can perceive him in full?
No.
Not it.
No, but we can know particular traits. So,
Yes,
for example,
correct.
Jesus in John 14 says
I
that
agree
he
with
is the
that.
way, the truth, and the life. So
Agreed.
this is saying that Jesus as God is the ultimate being in a positive attribute, that being truth.
If we can't conceive of God in his entirety, then we can't know everything other than what knowledge was bestowed upon us.
Yeah, but that's a knowledge.
Fair.
But that's a knowledge claim, which
Right.
presupposes
Wait,
God to begin with, because it's a knowledge claim.
God told us
Hold on.
conceive of God in
Truth.
if we can't conceive of God in his entirety,
Right.
then we can't know everything other than what knowledge was bestowed upon us.
Right, exactly. So the entire time, this whole thing has been Andrew saying, well, no, we know this about God. We know this about God. God wouldn't do this because we know this about God's nature. And then they come to the conclusion that, well, no, actually, we don't know God's nature like that. So you don't actually have the justification to make the claims that you're making. I mean, Tim got there eventually, but again, he's fucking shit up because he's trying to act like he knows way more than he does. And I mean, I guess he's smart enough to have wiggled his way through this conversation. But it's like, bro, yeah, I mean, we really came full circle. You cannot base anything on a God that you do not understand. You can believe in it all you want. You can follow it all you want. But once you start making active claims, that goes out the window. Except, isn't God supposed to send Jesus back to earth to fuck shit up? I'm Lutheran, but never stuttered or anything. No, I think the idea, well, like, yeah, Chris was talking about God came out pretty spiteful, or started out pretty spiteful in the beginning, and then it was supposed to be that Jesus came and was like, all right, let's chill out a little bit. And now y'all live in perfect harmony.
His entirety, then we can't know everything other than what knowledge was bestowed upon us.
Yeah, but that's a knowledge.
Fair.
But that's a knowledge claim, which presupposes
Okay.
God to begin with, because it's a knowledge claim.
God told us
Okay, but we are
what he is, and
presupposing God. We are saying if God, then X, Y, and Z. That's already welcome to the conversation, Andrew.
through the Bible.
To begin with, because it's a knowledge claim.
God told us what he is, and through the Bible.
That's part of Revelation. Yeah.
And that's a Christian view. I'm not a Christian. But how's it do with rights?
Well, I mean, but
We started off
wait a
with
second.
rights.
Whether you're a Christian or not,
I don't get it.
it would still have to be your view that God reveals himself to you somehow. That would be some form of revelation.
I believe that we have the capability to observe that God exists through math, science, and observation.
Yeah,
of
but
the
why are
universe.
those attributes of God?
Which ones?
Are those attributes
Well,
of
I, mean,
God?
I
Math,
would
science.
say the mathematics part is just the logic.
I would say, simply put, outside of doctrine, you can look at the universe and then calculate based on the rules that there is a creator.
Yeah, it's just the watchmaker argument. So you just say, well, if you were a person who had no understanding of technology, but you found a watch on a beach and you picked it up,
That's literally
you would infer creation just by the way that the
That's not
watch
the argument.
operates. It's the same argument.
it
Yeah.
is literally not.
Yeah, or you can say that mathematically, if you
Pause!
change even
What
one
is
little
happening?
teeny tiny thing, the
Not the
entire
argument.
universe would be thrown into disarray. What's the argument?
The argument is that
Jesus Christ. All right. Yeah, I hate the watchmaker argument because actually, you know what? Tim does a good job here of using beavers. Beavers are a perfect example of why the watchmaker argument is stupid. So if you're not familiar, he basically just said it, and he's going to say it again. But if you were just walking along on the beach and you found a watch, you wouldn't expect that it was natural. You would expect that it have some type of creation because of the fact that it has, so many gears and everything that works together. And this is meant to be something that goes against evolution. But like, if you, in the same way, Tim doesn't understand the religious things that he's talking about. Andrew doesn't seem to understand the scientific things that he's talking about. And actually, let me not put that on him just yet, because he's saying that Tim is making the watchmaker argument. So I don't know if he actually believes in that. But it makes perfect sense if you understand what the theory of evolution describes, that we would see very specialized things, like we have an anteater that has a nose like that, or birds that can fucking see prey under the water from 200 feet up and whatever. That's precisely what you would expect.
Mathematics part is just the logic.
I would say, simply put, outside of doctrine, you can look at the universe and then calculate based on the rules that there is a creator.
Yeah, it's just the watchmaker argument. So you just say, well, if you were a person who had no understanding of technology, but you found a watch on a beach and you picked it up,
That's literally
you would infer creation just by the way that the
That's not
watch
the argument.
operates. It's the same argument.
It is literally not.
Yeah, or you can say that mathematically, if you changed even one little teeny tiny thing, the
Not the
entire
argument.
universe would be thrown into disarray. What's the argument?
The argument is that there is negative entropy, and there is entropy, and that entropy only exists in greater elements of entropy. And what we end up finding throughout the universe, again, assuming you trust modern science, is that energy coalesces and disperses. I would say at a rate similar to the golden ratio. So it's a gradual.
And if you threw
decay.
that off, it would throw everything into disarray.
Not what I'm talking about. So when you take a look at the basis components of the universe, in some degree they coalesce. So we can take a look at quarks, atoms, denser hydrogen becoming helium, et cetera, et cetera. You can see that so long as there is more entropy outputted from a system, entropy is possible. This scales up exponentially and mathematically, which is what humans have traced so far. Again, if you believe modern science, because there's a lot we don't know. And you find that everything skews towards the creation of higher complex systems, so long as they create more disorder in the creation of complex systems. What that ultimately leads to is, simply put, atoms become elements, become
Molecules,
compounds, become molecules, all finding other ways to interact to become increasingly more complicated and organizing free energy in the universe into a complex system. This is a fact.
I'm not sure how this isn't like an
So,
explanation
I'll
or
tell you.
descriptor of your of
Video will pause. I don't know what's going on with my laptop, but so essentially, Tim is saying that the point of all of this is that the watchmaker argument, the notion that, oh well, there's things that we can't quite explain, doesn't give any explanatory power to what Andrew is trying to put forth, because as he brought up, or maybe did he bring it up already? I don't remember. But the same thing. If you saw a beaver dam, then you would be able to determine, if you were walking in the woods, you'd be able to determine a bunch of trees that fell over and a beaver dam. That doesn't mean anything, because yes, the beaver made it. But then that goes, oh, what made the beaver? It's all a process that works in on itself. Dick said, George Carlin said, we were created because Earth wanted plastic but didn't know how to make it. I mean, yeah, there's a whole line of thinking that everything that is nature. And so, we talk about natural versus unnatural. Anything that happens is a product of nature, and thus is natural. So your computer is part of nature. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but whoever hates correction is stupid. Like that one. I like that one.
Increasingly more complicated in organizing free energy in the universe into a complex system. This is a
Even
fact.
without
I'm not
a
sure how
creator.
this isn't like an explanation or descriptor of the observation of revelation of God for you.
So what we see is that once you get to the point of self-replicating proteins, molecules come to a point where, and this is a gap for human knowledge, we don't know why at some point molecules will become self-replicating proteins. I don't think it's all that complicated because the question of why elements become compounds is the same thing. We don't care. Oxygen bonds with carbon, to oxygen carbon dioxide. These things occur and we can track the science of them. At a certain point, self-replicating proteins emerge if the chemical conditions are correct. Self-replicating proteins eventually become single-cell life. Single-cell life eventually becomes multicellular life. Within those complex systems, multicellular life eventually creates ecosystems. Now they're creating complex systems outside of physical energy and into abstract concepts, which only exist in our thoughts. Eventually, you'll end up with multicellular organisms.
But your thoughts do exist, you think?
To some degree, they do, because I think, therefore, I am.
Yeah, where do they exist, though?
That's the interesting question that humans don't really know, because this is the abstract, complex dynamic system created by the highest iteration of life.
That's another faux pas that Andrew makes. He doesn't understand the difference between existence and tangibility. So he said, rights don't exist. And then when someone suggests they do, he said, okay, where are they? They're not tangible. They're ideas. Ideas exist. Where? I mean, that's also a good question. But you can't say ideas don't exist. But that's what Andrew thinks.
As we know, which is ourselves, unless there is an imperceivable higher form of life, which all mathematics predicts does exist. And so what we end up seeing with the universe is first you get chemicals that coalesce, you get organisms that reproduce, all of it collecting free energy and organizing into more complicated systems. Eventually you get a squirrel. Squirrel's a random example. But squirrels create more than just themselves by collecting free energy. They eat food, they make babies, that's replication.
What I don't
Squirrels
understand,
create ecosystems.
I actually don't understand right now, though.
Now squirrels
I understand what
are planting nuts, which create trees.
Yeah.
A new abstract system emerges, a complex system between life that is beyond just a physical component. It is now including a physical component, but it has an abstract element to it, interactions between two objects. That accentuates further into the manipulation of an environment, which a lower life form would probably be a beaver.
Yeah, but how's any of this? What I don't understand, right, is those systems you just described, you've observed.
So beavers,
those you've observed,
start manipulating their environments and creating complex systems outside of life itself. They're actually building dams. Dams interact with the environment in a way that's not necessarily life, but it collects free energy. Ultimately, we arrive to humans, where humans do something interesting in the creation of complex systems. They not only self-replicate, they not only create ecosystems, but they create abstract concepts to an extreme degree of complexity. And they not only do that, but they create internal micro simulations, which is computers and technology. All of this mathematical trend predicts higher forms of life beyond the capability to create abstract concepts, complex systems. Mathematically and probabilistically through observation, we could conclude the likelihood that life that exists beyond us, that has the capability to create systems of the universe itself, is more likely than not. So that in and of itself is a simple view of modern scientific observation into there is, in most likelihood, a life form of some sort or something beyond life that is a complex system that exists beyond us, that has the capability of not just creating abstract complex systems, but of creating complex systems itself. The singularity. The math points to a singularity of one ultimate power that has the capability to...
And that's what you believe is God.
I believe that it is suggestive of a God. My view of God is probably slightly beyond that into...
I got a big...
When I think of God,
big
brain. I think
brain.
the limits of our ability to comprehend higher dimensions, in visualizing higher dimensions in two-dimensional planes, because we can't even do it in three-dimensional planes. And then you come to the ultimate point where we would conclude there is a higher power than us that likely created us, created everything we experience, has the ability to create, destroy, and do whatever it wants, even though in our reality we cannot create or destroy, and we cannot comprehend the true power and true nature of what that is.
Okay. Could you induct then that thing had to be created?
Nope.
Why not?
Why would you?
What do you mean?
Why wouldn't you induct that thing had to be, like, using inductive
You don't have to. That's an additional claim. That's an additional thing. Why would you make an if we don't know about all of the whole thing that Tim said? If we don't know, and then you're asked, is there a creator? The proper response is I don't know. Not why would you think there wouldn't be? I don't think there wouldn't be. I just don't know. You are the one claiming to know. And this is why Tim should not be so gung-ho about, well, I believe in God, because you don't actually believe in the same things that these Christians are talking about. So you're muddying the waters, both for people like me who are trying to get this stuff straight, and the people who are in your audience who are following you, thinking that you're, some type of Christian-esque person, even though you say, I'm not a Christian, but I believe in God. But then when you get into the discussion, God is completely different from anything that any Christian would recognize. Insane. Anyway, someday it's smart enough to create new life using science. I mean, we're already there, baby. We already there. You ever heard of what was it? Sally? Is it Sally or Dolly the lamb? Dolly the sheep? Something like that? They're already there. They're cloning babies.
What do you mean?
Why wouldn't you induct that thing had
Here's what we're gonna do, guys.
Reasoning.
Check me out. So we have about 5 minutes left on this thing. I would love to stay and hang out, and I have a thing on my watch later playlist of Asmongold talking about all the stuff in Iran, and I've not seen any of that. I would love to sit and chill and hang out with you guys, but this is a grift stream. I need some money, so please let's get Morty some treats. If we can get another $10, then we will see what's going on with Iran. Please, guys, I very rarely just straight up ask you for money for stuff, but this is one of those days. If you would like to keep the party raging, you know how to do it.
Why wouldn't you induct that thing had to be like using inductive reasoning? What would you have to base on from actual observation that anything which
I can say this probably faster than most of you, and more times. Sally sells seashells down by the seashore. Sally sells Sally sells seashells down by the seashore. Sally sells seashells down by the seashore. Sally sells seashells down by the seashore. Oh, that was four. But that was good, right? That was good. You didn't expect that. Talking for a living. All right.
What would you have to base on from actual observation that anything which created anything else was not itself created?
If we go by the standard laws of thermodynamics, that nothing is created, destroyed, only changed.
Hey, yeah, thank you so very much, Jason, for the $2 make you holla. See, teamwork makes the dream work, guys. $8 left, and the party rages on. Come here, my sweet puppy little boy. Oh, we gotta have you on the vertical stream. There we go. I forgot to bring treats up, so he's getting a Cinnamon Toast Crunch waffle version. Thank you so very much. Yeah, we got to go to the bed tomorrow, huh? Oh, don't sit on my weed. And you don't want to sit on the brush. That's going to hurt your butt. All right. Thank you. So very much, sir. Let's get a couple more. I know you guys can do it. Jason, very much appreciated.
There are laws of thermodynamics that nothing is created, destroyed, only changed.
Yeah, but
so
even if that's the case, the energy which you're destroying or creating, right? God doesn't need to be created. No. He always existed, right?
We were not created in the sense of we manifested. We were created in the sense that the universe was created by God. The structure, the energy, all of it was created. Whether it's finite or not is a determination of God that we don't know.
Well, do you think this thing has consciousness?
And then we organized.
How would we know that?
Okay, so it's doing it on purpose?
Absolutely. So
how do you know that?
Presumably. So consciousness.
Why presumably?
We are in the universe, and we are components of the universe, and what we experience as conscious entities is a component of the universe, which also implies the universe itself, with us within it and within its confines and laws, experiences consciousness either through us, or there is a very, I believe, obvious observation that if simple consciousness, the neurons firing in our brains, which we think is what's generating consciousness, exists, then obviously there is a calculation of a higher power consciousness beyond ours.
Well, what does it want?
I don't know.
Why did it put you here?
There's a couple ideas that I have on that. One is you can describe it as a sorting algorithm, I suppose. Why do heaven and hell exist? Well, the Christian
cause. What the fuck is going on? This is what another thing I hate about some Christians when they get so arrogant about, like, oh, I have this all figured out. I know, and the Bible says this and that and that and that and that and that. and they can never answer the specifics about anything, like what is hell, or where, is there a place, whatever it is. And then they'll talk to somebody who has a different spiritual outlook, someone who's not a Christian, and they expect you to know every in and out of the doctrine and exactly how it should work out in this place and that way. And it's like, you don't claim to know all that about Christianity. So why are you expecting other people to know that about a religion that is not even that well defined in culture to begin with? That don't make no sense. Yeah, AI is definitely doing its thing. It's definitely doing its thing.
You can describe it as a sorting algorithm, I suppose. Why do heaven and hell exist? Well, the Christian...
You think hell exists too?
Absolutely. But I wouldn't describe it as fire and pits of inferno. I would describe it as, if we look at the universe and we look at the choices we are given, free will, and we take a look at...
So we're just making shit up now. We're just making shit up now. Hell is just this thing that I decided is hell. God is just this thing that I decided is God. God's nature is what it is because I said it is. What the fuck is this conversation?
I would say trying to learn off Christian or just general religious dogmas, because I do believe that humans and life has a general understanding until it's socialized out of them or they're broken from it. I do believe people can know God exists, but society today tries to make you erase that from your mind.
Well, this is really strange, though. Do you think we have free will too?
Yes, absolutely.
Nope.
You don't think it's predetermined?
There's gradients. Yeah, no, it's not predetermined. There's an element of predetermination in that some things will happen, and then how we function within them is ultimately.
But how can that be? If some things are predetermined, then everything is bound by the rules of logic. And so if it is impossible that X does not happen because Y happened, therefore X happened, then what other part of that is free in terms of free will? Free will doesn't even fucking make sense. It doesn't even make sense. If anyone wants to come up and take the ice cream test, we can do that. But yeah, free will doesn't make sense. Chris said, if Andrew is Orthodox, he knows God killed over 1 million people and Satan killed 10. Yeah, but it was in his nature. So, and I mean, realistically, I'm sure he would have an answer for that. But yeah, that is the calculation. Which is like, well, yeah, I mean, well, those people were bad people, and the people that Satan killed, those were good people. So I don't know what the response would be, but yeah, there's a lot there that when people like him, and him specifically, make it seem so ridiculous that somebody wouldn't, buy all of that wholesale. It's frustrating. It's triggering.
Think it's predetermined?
There's gradients. Yeah, no, it's not predetermined. There's an element of predetermination in that some things will happen, and then how we function within them is ultimately the function of reality. Now, I don't know that, obviously,
are free.
But I would say based on what I've...
Pause the fucking video! God damn it! So if some things are predetermined and other things are not, which things are predetermined and which things are free? And how do we determine the difference? And how the fuck did you determine which things were predetermined and which things were not? I mean, hey, you got the fucking partnership with Kalshi, right? So if you're working with a prediction market and you believe that certain things are predetermined, you should be a billionaire. Oh, but you don't actually believe that. You're just saying things.
Read, what I've seen. I don't know that, obviously, but I would say based on what I happen, and then how we function within them is ultimately the function of reality. Now, I don't know that, obviously, but I would say based on what I've read, what I've seen, what I've experienced.
What have you read?
A simple way to describe it is we are here as sort of a test. We are given choices. We are given free will. We're given opportunity. We are given struggle.
I would bet that Tim has never read a single book on religion. I'm willing to bet that he's all the things I've read, all the things I've seen. What have you read? And when did you have time to do it? Because you talk about how you work these 16-hour days to get all the new stuff out. When are you reading books about religion? And what books are you reading so that everybody, atheist, a Christian or otherwise, can stay away from them? Because if this is the type of mentality that you have on religion, after reading about it, like if you didn't read anything, you're just kind of thinking about this shit, that makes a lot more sense. But if you're reading about this and coming to this conclusion, I want to know exactly what to stay away from. Come on, guys. $8. We can do it. $8. 2 minutes.
We are given choices. We are given free will. We're given opportunity. We are given struggles, and we make choices on how we exist within these things. Do you choose to be evil for self-gain, to burn things down and destroy? If life, all life, is functioning towards the creation of complex systems, that it would seem to defy God's will to be a force of entropy. So when you look at Antifa burning things down, destroying that, I describe that as evil. When you look at Democrats exploiting to steal and make gains for themselves, they are empowering a small system at the destruction of a larger system. I would call that evil.
All that whole time it should have been paused. Notice how he's bringing it back to politics, because he knows a lot more about politics than he does religion, and I say A or one, and two, B, whatever. He knows that Andrew is going to agree that Antifa is evil. So he's completely dodging the conversation to bring it back to somewhere where he and Andrew can agree, so that the optics are, well, we had a heated debate, but eventually we agreed. Did you though? Did you though?
Make gains for themselves. They are empowering a small system at the destruction of a larger system. I would call that evil. If the purpose of a person, or if the function of a person, is to create more complicated systems, i.e. create life, protect life, and expand upon life, that seems to be God's will, as that is what life does. So there's a sort of yin-yang of the universe. I don't believe it's balanced like yin-yang. I believe it's more like the golden ratio spiraling towards negative, towards entropy, with life functioning as negative entropy. And thus, simply put, there is a God. We are here for a reason. We are here to protect, to organize, to create, and develop and expand.
So what if you end up in a situation where you have Aztecs who are cutting the...
Stop them.
Oh, hang on. Cutting the... sacrificing it to their god. Okay? But when they do, they are way more likely to breed. You have now expanded life.
Nope.
Yes.
Yin-yang.
Yikes. And so I then would be able to answer that question in terms of individual liberty, which again is why you want to make sure that you understand what you are saying, because I can justify, at least maybe not objectively, but within my preferences, which is all that we have, I can justify within my preferences why the Aztecs should not should have been doing that, even if it increased birth rates, because individual liberty is at the top. But Tim's just reaching. So we went through that whole thing, and they both sucked. They're both wrong, and I hate everybody. So here's where we're at, guys. Here's where we're at. I've got that much left to pack. So while I'm packing that, I'm gonna check out what GAWD is saying about Iran, and when I'm done, it's up to you guys. Either we can stay and talk about it, or I'm just going to go watch it on my own. So up to you guys. Let's see what we got here. Do you guys use Watch Later playlist? This is a very good tool. And, because you can remove all the videos that you've watched. So even if you skip around, if you haven't been using your Watch Later playlist, you definitely should. Where the fuck is this shit?
So, Minister of Defense, dead. Head of the Supreme Military, dead. Advisor to the Supreme Leader, dead. Commander of the Revolutionary Guard, dead. And Chairman of SP&D, dead. Former Chairman, dead. The head of the Intel, dead. That's it.
Got him! Got him!
Wow.
And we've got plenty of time here. There's plenty of information. I don't know jack shit about what's going on in Iran. So I definitely think we should all be trying to figure this out. But you guys, let me know.
And senior defense officials tell Fox News the United States agrees with Israeli assessment that Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei is dead, along with 5 or 10 other top leaders in the Iranian government who are all meeting at... So wait a minute. Are you telling me that we just waited for them all to get into one building and then we just blew up the building?
Sounds like a good plan.
All right, finally. All right, go. Just AoE farming them. Yes, exactly. So they're just sitting around. So that means that, you know what's funny is that means that we were tracking every single one of them the entire time. This entire thing where they thought that they were getting away with it and, oh, well, they're not going to be able to find us and everything. We already knew where all of them were the whole time. The moment that they all got together, we blew them up.
Are you guys down with what's going on in Iran? What do you think? Oh, what do you think? What do you think? Let me know. Is anyone even fucking here?
Wow. Just like you said. Yeah, just like I said. I said this, and that's the way it is, right? Roaches, check it. I told y'all. Red alerts in Israel. Why didn't Allah save them? Because probably the reason why is that if there is some afterlife, they're going to get sent to hell. These people are horrible, oppressive demons. No.
15 years? Fucking say something.
Any sort of sensible, good afterlife would send these people to hell. Like, they're going and killing their own people. They're enabling rapes and murders in their own country. They're massively oppressive. They toured the entire country, 90, 80 million people into poverty and a total shithole. Where the country used to be great. Yeah, they're probably not getting their 72 virgins. They're not. Why the fuck would they? They don't.
Have you guys seen the pictures of like the Iran in like 1979 versus Iran after the Ayatollah, whatever it is, it took over? We'll do instead. I'll do Iran 19. This is usually. Yeah, like this was. Oh, here we go. This is what I'm looking for. Bow, 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 bow. Oh, maybe it wasn't. There was, but I mean, you know, Iran now is obviously until yesterday all burqa'd out and everything. But 1979, they were chilling, having a good time. They were chilling, having a good time. Shout out to Easy. Welcome to the party. We're just getting into it because I really have not had the time to pay attention to it. So we were covering the Andrew Wilson, Tim Pool thing, but I got a little bit of time left on my roll up. So I'm giving you guys the opportunity to see if we want to stay and rock with it. But right now we are checking out Asmongold. Guys, I just need $6 in total. There's 18 of you here. 99-cent super stickers will count. Every single one gets more to a treat. And we got to go to the vet. Please help me out, guys. Let's go.
Deserve it. They're assholes. They're getting 72 demons. Well, no, they are the 72 demons. And so anyway, that's what's happened. And here we go. Kuwait's Ministry of Defense. And what is this here? Subjected to another Iran? Oh, another drone attack. Here we go. Wow. Oh. Uh-huh. $72 Griffiths. Yeah. It's time to get fucked in the ass. Logic takes you to the finish line. Called another one. Well, of course, right? This is why I always get it right. The reason why I always get it right is I'm logical. Most things behave according to logic.
Easy, right?
Occasionally, they don't. But most things work and they function according to logic. And that is the bottom line. That will always be the bottom line. They think they're getting their 72 virgins, but they're actually getting 72 incel Star Trek fanboys. Yeah, that's about right. And so most humans related, at least, yes, most humans function this way. Iranian one-way attack drone. Oh, here we go. In the directed earlier.
Did they actually say if it's 72 male or female virgins in the Quran? Like, is that like just a huge assumption that all these jihadist suicide bombers think? Like, is it specified?
On the U.S.'s Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters. Uh-oh. There it is. Oh, what's this? Boom. Wow. Good job, guys. Good job. And there it is. And getting 72 Redditors. Yeah.
Council meeting begins in just a little while. In the meantime, though, if you missed it, President Trump did give a full address, speaking just an hour or so after.
I'm going to just take this a second. We're going to look at this. More celebrations in Tehran following Khamenei's death. This is in Tehran. Damn. Oh, we got. Oh, let him know. This a live feed? Yeah. They happy as hell. I got
Hey, shout out to Easy. I'm just calling you Easy with a $5 super sticker. Bam, 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 bam. Thank you. So very, very much. Morty just went to get a drink of water, so we will keep his treat here for actually it's good. Remember, I forgot his treat, so I'm giving him my food. I didn't just eat a dog treat. But thank you. So very, very much, sir. Guys, $3 left. Let's keep this party raging. Very much appreciated, and we will make sure Marty gets his treat in full. HR said, "Who wants a virgin? We were clumsy, awkward, and didn't know what we were doing." Yeah, but you're pure. The purity. Oh, so clean. So clean.
Hashtag Packwatch. That's right. Like, we have a lot of scientists, engineers, and like high-end people here in America that are. This one has more action. Okay, let me get it.
Miss it. Leaders openly call for our destruction and build the means to carry it out. We do not dismiss it. We do not gamble with our survival.
Is this the UN?
We act. Thank you.
Thank you. It's Pamela Falk from U.S. News and World Report. Thank you, Ambassador.
Morty, come get a treat. Bam, 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 bam. Look, come here. Yeah, come here. Oh, we getting a treat for Morty. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Easy. Very, very much. Get all the sugar and stuff. Yeah, that's what dogs need, right? Sugar. There we go. Thank you. So very, very much. And of course, the party rages on.
For the briefing. Since you're talking about regime change, can you confirm whether or not the Iran Supreme Leader has been killed and what happens next, if so?
We will continue to target the leadership of this radical regime.
That's a good question.
And we will do whatever necessary to enable the right conditions for a new future for the people of Iran and stability for the region. Thank you.
So he wasn't sure.
As long as it will take to achieve the goals I just mentioned. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ambassador, the Prime Minister told the Iranian people that he will let them know whether it's time for them to come on the streets. What's the end goal here for Israel?
I think everyone sees what's happening on the ground and understand that the time for the Iranian people to take control of the future is very soon. Thank you.
Mr. Ambassador. Thank you. Ambassador.
Thank you,
Man. That's about it for now. More likely due to broken command structure and communication issues, as well as radical leadership involved as well. Yeah, I think that's probably it too. And we're waiting to see what's going to happen with one of these. It looks like there's no more missiles that are coming out right now. We'll see what happens. But right now, that seems like
That's what the calculation now is. Regime preservation. Could you get a more pragmatic figure presiding over this regime?
Man.
Sure.
Aaron, I just want to break in.
Honestly, it could have been just hitting like a random area, because there are times that they let the bombs go down if they're not hitting anything that's important.
For a moment, because we're looking at live pictures in the air over Tel Aviv, and obviously, as many people know or maybe don't know, there is an Iron Dome that Israel uses as its missile defense system, and we're seeing it working now. But in some places and instances, it does not work. And I believe this is one missile feasibly that has broken through the Iron Dome.
Yeah. And the Israelis.
So
I think that's what the calculation now is. Regime.
From Israel? Yeah, you guys, y'all in the U.S., like we got them, right? We fucking got them. And
yeah, but the question is really about what's going to happen next. And I mean, I this is my weaker area. I don't know that much about the foreign affairs and stuff, but I'm curious about the connections between the 12-day war and how all of this is playing out.
This has been a long time coming. I feel like everybody knew this was going to happen. Everybody had an idea this is where things were going to go, but now it's finally happened. And we have guns on it too. Legit aimbot IRL. Yeah, exactly, right? They said 1 out of 12 will make it though. I don't know about that. Iranian here, Khomeini dead, and we're all super happy. Job's not done yet. His minions will storm out and take out on people. Want to thank you for covering it since the Palestine crowd is all.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, the TikTok scroll, that's on the other channel. You'll have more fun there.
Silent. That's because the Palestine crowd are it's like a big element of the pro-Palestine crowd are people who have been co-opted to act in the best interest of political Islam, and not just Islam, but radical fucking fundamentalist, aggressive, violent Islam. And
this goes back to Takia, the fact that they come in here, oh, we're the religion of peace, That's a pretty recent thing about how the West talks about Islam. And it's all because they are very good at acting like the victims. And then the left is so ready to just victimize anybody that is black or brown or from a different country or whatever. Oh, these poor people. Blah, 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 blah. And they come over here and they keep coming and they keep coming and they keep coming and they set up roots and they set up communities and they get funding by abusing fraud in the government. And then the next thing you know, just kidding, we were never about the peace. Boom, you are dead and we are too, but it's okay because we get zipper jams. That's a little bit simplistic, but it is the plan.
They've been conscripted into this and they don't understand that. I'm not saying that Free Palestine isn't a movement that this should be supported. I think it honestly should be. Like, I think what happened to them is horrible. But at the same time, I think that there are a lot of people that are supporting it on a religious line rather than a humanitarian line. And I think that the discrepancy between the way that they talk about Palestine versus Iran, when it's kind of the same thing, not exactly, but it's kind of the same thing. Basically, I think that illustrates that point perfectly. That it was never, ever about, a genocide or something like that. These people were just kind of being conscripted into a religious political war that they had no idea about. Hundreds of people die. May the rest in peace. Yeah, sure. It's horrible, man. It absolutely is. So, yeah, what's this here? It's on Twitter. I don't know about that. I sometimes shoot with this on. I have no idea. And, yeah, what is the traffic sound? I think some other videos playing in the background. I have 3 videos playing right now. I have this one right now because I'm waiting if there are more sirens because there's people saying that they're shooting missiles at Israel. Big surprise, right? And so I've got that open. So if I hear it or something happens, then we'll know. But, yeah. What is this here? Oh, God.
What do we got? Let's skip up a little bit. I mean, I think it's just, is this mainly just him,
All these people are happy, and you get other people crying. Observe it, yep. And stopping the leaders, yeah. Trump went all in, exactly. Don't you think this is just a start? More bloodshed? No. Where? Man. How about that? UN meetings going on?
The integrity of Bahrain, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates. We are witnessing a grave threat to international peace and security. Military action carries the risk of igniting a chain of events that no one can control in the most volatile region of the world. Let me be clear. There is no viable alternative to the peaceful settlement of international disputes. Lasting peace can only be achieved through peaceful means, including genuine dialogue and negotiations. Mr. President, second, the facts.
What?
The situation on the ground is very fluid. There are many unconfirmed reports. Here is what we know. About 20 cities across Iran, including Tehran, Isfahan, Qom, Shahryar, and Tabriz, have reportedly been attacked. In Tehran, large explosions were reported in the district that includes the presidential palace and the compound of the supreme leader. Several high-ranking officials have reportedly been killed, including, according to Israeli sources, Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei, that I'm not in a position to confirm. Iran's air.
Oh, come on. All right, I think that's our cue then. Well, thank you so very, very much for hanging out while we talked about all that. I think it was I try not to talk about religion as much because I don't really find it as useful. for what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to bring people together, and religion is the easiest place for people to disagree. I think politics is next easiest, but it's also extremely important. And obviously, I don't believe in the religion aspect, but the political thing is real in front of our faces. So, I'm going to keep trying to be better at communicating with you guys, and hopefully that will make us all better at communicating with each other. Big shout out to the donations. We had Jennifer, Jason, and Easy. And Jason again. Guys, thank you so very, very much for hanging out. Once again, we have Morty, the Overlord here. And, where the fuck is that thing? Okay. We've got Morty over here. And, of course, I have been your host, Lutch, a.k.a. the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.